All right, guys, so I have been asked a couple of questions about the quiz that y'all have taken. These two questions right here, so I want to kind of briefly go over them really quick. So starting with the question, describe the intervals for which the function below is increasing. The key word here is going to be increasing. So just knowing what we know about increasing, it just simply means where is the function going up. Okay, so when you read a function, you read it left to right. So even further with that, so here to here, the function is going down. All right, and then from here to here, the function is going up. And then from here to here, the function is going down. All right. So I want the interval. Okay, so when I see interval, right, I think of the word span. So what span of the graph goes up? Okay. And we will be looking for the x values. So at x equals -1, x equals 1. Okay, so from -infinity to 1, and remember again, these are x values. So from -infinity all the way to -1, it's going down. Because of that, I get rid of answer choice A. The great thing about math is part of the answer is wrong, the entire thing is wrong. So from -2, all right, so from -2, so from green dot to green dot, the graph is going down and up. It's only concerned with it increasing. So I'll get rid of that. The next answer from -1 to 1, so from my orange dots, that's where it's going up. And so like I'm going to put a question mark here because there could be a better answer. So the function never increases. So if I never see a dot or a span where the function is rising, then this would be my answer. But because the orange goes up, D is now no longer invalid. So C is in fact my answer. The next question, find the domain and range of the given function. F of x is equal to 7x minus 1. So domain, again, I'm concerned with the x values. Range, I'm concerned with the y values. And my answer choices were D equals -infinity to infinity, or -infinity to 0. All right. Now, in the key features video, I talk about infinities. Now, infinity is a special number right? Because you can never actually get to it, right? So you could get to 999,999,999. Well, then if you add 1, it would become a billion. Well, 999,999,999,999. I can always add 1 to a number. Okay. So remember, parentheses is equal to, in interval notation, is not contained. Now, when I say not contained, it means, right, the number that's beside it is not contained, whereas brackets means is contained. All right. For this simple reason, because you can never actually get to infinity, I'm going to mark B off because I see a bracket beside an infinity. And then I look through the rest of the answer choices, and none of them have that. So then what I think about is I want to decipher what sets A, C, and D apart. Okay. When I look at domain for A, C, and D, they're all the same, right? They all have negative infinity to infinity, negative infinity to infinity, negative infinity to infinity. Because of this, I know this must be the correct domain. Now, a couple people actually sent me this, and they showed me their Desmos graph, which is the correct thing to do. Right? If you're ever given a function, you can tell a lot more about it by looking at a graph versus an equation. So again, range. When I read the range of a function, I want to start with the smallest value. Okay. So in answer choice A, it says the range goes to negative infinity. So the smallest value is negative infinity. I have this rule that I'll zoom out about 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And what you see here is the graph is continually going smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Right? And it doesn't matter how far I zoom out, it just keeps on going. Okay. Now, if I want to try and evaluate this, -2 times 10 to the 7th power is -20 million. Okay. Well, the next thing I see is -5. It's -50 million. And I'm sure I can keep on going and going and going. That last statement I said right there, going and going and going and going, never ending, and there's not a gap or a break, that tells me the graph goes downwards to a negative infinity value. So now if my answer choice does not have negative infinity as its beginning value for the range, I'm going to get rid of it. So A can stay, D can stay for right now. However, the graph does go below 0. Right? It does go below the y value of 0. So therefore, C is wrong. Well, now what I'm concerned with is the big Y value, 0 to infinity, or 0 or infinity. So then I ask myself the question, is there any number bigger than 0, right? Is there any Y value that is bigger than 0 on this graph? So if I type 5 in, right, this graph has a Y value of 5, right? And so all of these values where my green line is intersecting my red line is a part of the function. And then again, if I zoom out and I keep on zooming out, the graph gets bigger and 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 bigger, and it never stops, thus telling me it is going to positive infinity. So 0 is wrong, thus meaning my answer for this one would have been D.